N8BCVHF. Repeater. The time is 6:41 p.m.
Good evening, amateur radio operators. A reminder that the Lake County Amateur Radio Association Thursday night 2-meter net will be starting in 15 minutes, and that's at 7 p.m. This is N8IJG.
Well, maybe it's the camera, but I don't see your beverage sitting there to wet your whistle. This whole ordeal. Okay,
It's off to the side, Paul. I do have it. My usual setup. My usual Diet Coke. N8IJG.
that's a good thing. Might as well chit chat while we're waiting. N8IJG, KVLA. Did you get your toy out and have some fun with that yet?
Okay, VLA N8IJG. Yep, I've had it out on a number of occasions already. I've been up to a couple of auto shows and some cruise-ins, and yes, have had it out and having fun with it.
That's a good thing. I'm just waiting for the rains to quit out here, and we'll discuss that when we get into the net. I'm hoping to get the garden tilled up and so on and so forth. But we'll discuss that after we check in. That's coming in about 7 minutes. KVLA.
All right, Paul, sounds good. And yeah, about 3 minutes. We'll talk to you a little bit. N8IJG. It still keeps moving though. So.
Calling CQ. Hello, CQ, for the Lake County Amateur Radio Association, Thursday night, 2-meter net. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Lake County Amateur Radio Association's Thursday night, 2-meter net. This net meets every Thursday at 7 p.m. on the 147.210 megahertz repeater, which is owned, sponsored, and maintained by LaCara, the Lake County Amateur Radio Association of Lake County, Ohio. Your net control station for this session, LaCara Thursday night 2-meter net, is N8IJG, November 8, India Juliet Golf. My name is Bill, and I'm located in Wycliffe. The purpose of the net is primarily for, but not necessarily limited to, the sharing of amateur radio information with each other. Here's a list of some of the things we're looking for here on the net. Any information you may have concerning VE testing sessions, AmFest information, or any information you may have downloaded from the various amateur radio websites. We're interested in any DX that you may have worked, whether it was on HF, VHF, or UHF. Are you a member of any other clubs in addition to or other than LaCara? If so, what activity has your club been up to? We'll take sunshine reports here on the net. If you know of someone who's recovering from an illness or surgery, let us know so we may offer words of encouragement here on the net. We'll take any silent key announcements you may have. We'll also take classified items here on the net. If the item you are selling belongs to you, then you can mention the price. But if the item belongs to a buddy or an estate sale, please refrain from mentioning the price. This is N8IJG for the Lake County Amateur Radio Association's Thursday night 2-meter net. Well then, we need to get the net started, and to do so, I will be asking for check-ins, but we always begin the net first with mobile, low power, and echo link stations. So if you happen to be traveling on Interstate 90 somewhere between Cleveland and Erie, or out and about running an errand on this Thursday evening, we'd like to hear from you. So then, if there are any mobile or low power stations that wish to check in at this time, please call. This is N8IJG.
WB8ZGH portable.
There was a double there. I did pick up Mike, WB8ZGH, and the other station.
Station is now N8IJG in the Big Room parking lot.
Kilowatt 8 whiskey. No traffic in or out, Bill.
Alrighty, first we'll recognize Fritz, KWLF Mobile. Thank you very much, Fritz, for checking in. 73 to you. Have a safe excursion and some fun this evening. Ed, BKE, I have you, Tom, SJG on the list, but we'll start this round off at the top and go back up to Mike. Portable, out on the porch deck this evening, WB8ZGH. WB8ZGH, do you copy? Well, he may be scrambling, or maybe there's something wrong here. Tom, KD8SJG, do you have a copy?
unclear of my location.
All right, Tom, go ahead and take it. I'll pull up Mike in a few minutes. He may have had a battery failure. Mobile, portable, stationary mobile in the old Big Bird parking lot. How has your day been?
Another day in paradise. You know, running around doing a few errands and putting off finding out how my car's going to cost me to get repaired. Seems I wound up killing the battery about a week and a half ago, and long story short, tried to jump it, couldn't get it going. It turns out I've probably blown one of the computers on board that takes care of the stuff. Some of the things work, some of the things don't. Had replaced some fuses, big break. The car will start, but the alarm goes on. The windows don't work. And the electronics, I have an automatic transmission, you know, that's run by electronics. It doesn't work, and had it at College Marathon down in North Meadow. And he was thinking it was there's a cabin module and a fuse block up under the hood that doesn't have any power. So I've been a little timid to go to Toyota and find out an estimate of what this is going to cost.
I agree with you, Tom. It's the way the computers are now. More computers in them than there was in the Apollo 11 when we landed on the moon, and yeah, it's you used to, and again, this may have changed. You used to just be able to take battery terminals and go right to the battery posts. And now they recommend going to putting the ground to the frame somewhere, one of the mounting brackets, one of the uninsulated mounting brackets. Yeah, it's tough trying to do any work, and I agree with you. Toyota. It's not going to be a pretty figure. I blew a head gasket on my Subaru, and that wasn't cheap either. They had it for 3 days, and it was a very pricey repair, but I had to have it done for the car, so. I don't know. It's a tough call now, but what are you supposed to do?
I guess they want me to continue paying for it and keeping the insurance up as well. I had a friend when his 4 kids started driving a few years back. He'd go to car shows and buy a 78 Chevy or a 84 Oldsmobile for a Pontiac or something. You could still fix. Talking with another mechanic, and he was just saying what a pain in the butt it is. Some of these new cars. He said, whether it's a 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder, the Malibus. He said, it takes 4 hours of labor to get all the junk around the backside of the engine and change a couple of plugs and then put it all back together. So they figure a way to get the money out of you in the repair shop, that's for sure. So I'll just sit here and listen for the rest of the night. State 73 there, we went on the net, and I'm glad this location is still working for my little radio. It's going to be
All right, Tom. Good luck on the repair. And yeah, there is something to say about the vintage 70 cars. You can change the plugs, coil, condenser, actually get into the engine and actually change the spark plugs yourself. New ones are nice. They do go 100,000 miles, and but the home mechanic is harder and harder to do nowadays. There's just so much electronics on them. I agree with you. But that's the way it is. We like our bells and whistles, and one of my vehicles, I get this message that pops up on the screen screen of the car. It's got a backup camera, and it tells me that I need to keep my eyes on the road. And why this message pops up while I'm driving, I don't understand. I've scratched my head about that and questioned the manufacturer why they would do such a thing. But it's a head scratcher. So, but very well, Tom. We do have the audio news. We'll bring that up in a little bit. Thank you for checking in. 73 to you. Have a very good evening. Mike, W8IJG, are you back with us?
N8IJG, back with full power here. Where did you lose me?
Actually, from the very beginning, I didn't get, after your check-in, picked up a couple other stations, went back to you, and there was no Michael.
Okay, very good. Well, the screen on the HD was blank, and I was standing out in the driveway. I talked for a little bit before I looked, and that was pretty much it. So things are on charge, good. We'll have everything up and running for the Sunday in June operation. And nothing too exciting over here. We're just out checking out the flower gardens with Fran. And everything is pretty much in bloom. Some of the stuff is already going to seed. So that's pretty much it from here. So thanks for running the net, and I will listen along. This is W8IJG.
Very well, Mike. Yeah, I kind of figured you had a battery issue, and didn't turn out to be too bad of an afternoon. Morning started off cool, foggy. 7 a.m. Couldn't see very much. I'm not sure how it was in your neck of the woods. But that the cloud lifted and ended up maybe a tad chilly, a little bit, but wasn't totally unpleasant. Got the lawn mowed, so that's done for the week. Got a good barrel and a half of grass, so the grass is still growing with the amount of rain we have, and I guess there is a little bit more on the way. So do thank you for checking in. Listen a long time permits. We'll say 73 and have a very good evening. And we'll go down to Ed, see how he's doing. KB8BKE and N8IJG with the Thursday night 2-meter net.
N8IJG in the group. Good evening, Bill. Thanks again for taking that. Really appreciate doing a fine job, and they're looking great on YouTube. We had a pretty nice quiet day. Got some, made a point of getting some garbage out for collection tomorrow out of landscaping stuff. And I had some branches there to cut up, so that took most of the day. And not much else going on, and I guess we'll turn it back to you and listen along, and good to hear everyone that comes on tonight. N8IJG back in that.
All right, Ed. Good to see you last night as well. Good informative meeting, as they usually are. And do thank you for checking in. got the usual back headshot going. I just haven't. I don't know about a frontal shot. Paul, W8PJW was inquiring about repositioning the camera, and it's like, I don't know if I want to go with frontal shot yet. So leave it as a kind of a panoramic view. But very well, good to hear you. Thanks for checking in, listen along, and we'll say 73. And do we have any additional mobile or low power stations for the Thursday night 2-meter net? Then I'll go ahead and turn to our Echolink stations that are standing by. We got Doug at the top, N6 NFF. Good evening to you, Doug, and how have things been for you?
Well, good evening, Bill, and everybody else in La Land. On the net, this is Doug, N6 NFF, where we have 81 degrees out here. It was warmer yesterday. We had a high temperature of 98, so we do welcome the cooler weather because that way we don't have to run the air conditioner. We ran it for the first time on Saturday, June the 1st, and ran it for several straight days until today. So hopefully for the next couple days we won't have to run that. Everything's going fine with me. My wife's busy filling out applications and making ready to go to guide dog school sometime first of next year, probably for another guide dog. I think she's going to go to the one up in Rochester, Michigan, just outside of Detroit. Let me reset the timer here by a beep. At me, I rode 15 miles on the tandem bike. It was the other day, on Tuesday. That was a very warm day that day. I think it was 70 degrees when we started out, and it got warmer. My pilot tried to tell me it wasn't a good idea to wear a long-sleeve t-shirt, and he was right. I was wishing I hadn't done that. It's supposed to be as warm next Tuesday when we go out, so I'll bet y'all leave the long-sleeve t-shirt behind. But good to know you guys had a good meeting last night. That just occurred to me when somebody mentioned it. First Wednesday of the month you have meetings. Hope your field day preparations are going well. Ours sort of kind of are. We'll see what happens in a couple of weeks. That's all I have, Bill. So what I'm going to do is turn it back to you, say 73, and let you beat the bushes for more check-ins. N8IJG and the LaCara, Thursday night, 2-meter net. Here is N6 NFF. 7-3, everyone.
N6 NFF, N8IJG. Very well, Doug. Still commend you on your bike riding excursion. It appears that it's almost a weekly one, or bi-weekly. I'm not exactly sure. I forget what you said, but previously. But I still commend you on getting out and doing a little bit of pedaling. 15 miles in each direction. That's a pretty good bike ride. And as I've said in the past, way to work off those breakfast calories. So staying fit also as well. So 81, not the same here. We're running about 63. A lot of fog. We've had a fair amount of rain too. I'm not sure what total has been over the past few days, but we've picked up a fair amount. And I'm trying to think if you may have heard. Let me grab a beep here for a second. We had a tornado that went through the northern part of Dayton, Ohio, and well, as you probably know, Dayton has moved to Xenia, the Hamfest, but Hera, at least part of the roof was ripped off the building. So Troutwood had tornadoes that went through. That was about a week ago or so. So there's just some news here. So Hera is, well, they're in the process of tearing it down, but as I said, part of the roof's gone, and a good number of houses were hit as well. So we've had our wicked weather out here. Nothing in the Cleveland area that I'm aware of. A couple, I guess Solon may have, I'm trying to think what Solon. So Sandusky has gotten into some heavy weather, and a couple of communities south of Lake County as well. So we've experienced a fair amount of weather here. So just kind of as an update, don't know what you may have heard. So, but do thank you for checking in. Say hello to Sheila from the Lake County group, and thank you for taking some time and stopping by and saying hello. It's always good to hear from you. We'll say 73, and you have a good evening. And I'm going to catch another beep here and reset the equipment. And with that, we'll go to our other Echolink station, KC8FQV. Mark, good evening to you, and how is the copy?
Oh, the coffee's good. Yeah, good coffee. Well, the day finally got straightened up after the morning start. That's good. The sun came out and everything. Yeah, ran up to town for a couple of things, came back home, and was giving me my phone was giving me signal saying I wanted to connect. Well, was getting your echo, and it kept saying you're not there, but I knew you were there, and I said, okay, we'll just go straight in my favorite now, find it. And there it was. We got 69 degrees here and that. So, everything else is going good. Yeah, I was going to bring up YouTube. I didn't do that yet. Oh, there's another thing on the computer. I've got so many things open on that computer. It's unbelievable. Well, we're being here and done last night twice. So, well, send it back your way, KWV.
All right, Mark. Yeah, the programs do end up accumulating on the computer, so do understand. And yes, didn't turn out to be a bad day. Tomorrow they're predicting even a better one. So it's supposed to get warmer and a little more sun. And seems like things are going a little slower this year than what they normally do. So, and one of the weather forecasters, I guess, let's see, how did he word it? This is the first 3 full days we'll be having without rain. So that we did have 3 days, straight days, I think he said, in May without rain, and going back to February. So it has been a strange spring so far, but do thank you for checking in. Listen along as time permits. We'll say 73. Have a very good evening. And I'm going to head and grab another beat, reset the equipment. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and open up the net to all stations. So, if you're within the sound of my voice and have the wattage to hit this machine and wish to give it the good old college try, anyone, anywhere, for LaCara Thursday night, 2-meter net, please call. This is N8IJG.
Lima Papa Charlie.
Alrighty, and because he's been in here, we'll drop Paul's name in as well. We'll get back to him in a second. Larry, K8LPC, good evening to you, and how have things been?
N8IJG in the group, K8LPC. Well, Bill, everything's been okay. It's just been busier than a one-armed wallpaper hanger. I really enjoyed doing last week's net. That was great. It was a little Spartan, but everything went well. I just did some domestic-wise chores today, a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails. Actually had an OPERS webinar on connecting to Medicare and Medicaid that I won't have to worry about for a few years, but it was an interesting process. Like Tom, I'm also looking at some automotive repairs. The transmission leak on the Explorer has gotten to the point it needs looked at, and it's nothing I can do myself. And I couldn't get an appointment for anyone until Monday. So Monday we'll see what that's going to cost me, and when they can actually take a look at it. I know it's 10 years old, it's probably time to change out, but it's kind of hard to sell something if it's leaking. With that, I'm sorry to have missed last night's meeting. I just wasn't up to it. But gosh, I do appreciate all the people that called and checked on me. You know, living alone, you don't know how much that means to me. So I really do appreciate the few that called. And while we may not have the biggest club, we certainly have the nicest people, that's for sure. So with that, I'm looking forward to Sunday in June, and then of course the following Sunday the half marathon, and then field day, and then Mardi Gras, which I didn't have a chance to sign up for last night, but I'm sure I'll talk to Mike come Sunday. So with that, I'm just enjoying a absolutely gorgeous evening. It was really chilly and foggy this morning, but it's picture perfect now. So with that, thank you for doing the net. You do a most excellent job. And I'll say 7 threes to you as well as everyone else. And I'll be looking forward to listening to the ARRL audio news on my iPad. N8IJG in the group at K8LPC.
All right, Larry. The meeting went well, and kind of a response to Doug, which I forgot to indicate, that all prep for the field day is in place. So I think that would be a good go. Sounds like we're going to be a 6 Alpha designator, so it sounds like people are in place, station captains and various other activities are all accounted for. So glad you're doing well. Do thank you for taking the net. May ask you later this month. Yeah, I got some activities going at the end of this month, end of next month. I don't know, things are piling up a little strange. This year has been strange. I've been going in a lot of weird spurts in activities, so maybe, as I said, asking you again for hopefully your time to run the Thursday net so we can continue, and don't know some exact dates, but once I have those locked down, I'll let you know. So do appreciate you checking in. Sorry about the car, and yeah, they're always maintenance items, that's for certain, and have to keep up with them. So we'll say 73. You have a very good evening, and thank you for checking in. Paul, KAA, VLA, we'll send it over to you and see what's happening in your end of Madison.
What's happening is I'm waiting for it to dry up, and hopefully tomorrow I have a vacation day, and maybe I can get the garden roto-tilled, and my wife started some plants, and oh my God, they're ready to go into the ground maybe last week. So we're trying to get that kind of stuff done, and if the weather cooperates, maybe we can get the garden planted. KAA.
Well, we did our 2 tomato plants, so dug 2 quick holes and dropped those in place. So our planting is done here. No, well, did have to rototill out the section that we used, but I don't know. Last year didn't go well for us, and so we just decided we'd throw in a couple tomato plants, see how those work this year, and I definitely don't have green thumbs, so I have a hard time making grass grow. I just thank ChemLawn. I have to pay them to come out and spray. So, yeah, the ground's still wet. We get a couple dry days, I originally heard Sunday was going to be dry. Now I've heard there's going to be rain again. So I'm not sure what. Sounds like we got more rain coming in.
Now, Roger, it's been definitely too wet for gardeners, and I'm hearing that's a big problem across the U.S. and the Midwest states and all that stuff, so we're not alone. I have to ask you, it's been very cool. We don't need air conditioning too much now. Did you get yours replaced?
That's scheduled for next Friday. They're going to start it, and they said they'd probably wrap it up on Monday. So, yes, everything is in place, and next Friday they're going to start taking out the old furnace and popping in the new one along with the air conditioner.
I think it's going to creep up on us and get hot, but who knows? It is what it is, but the long-range forecast is that for a really hot summer. We haven't seen that yet, but I think it's coming.
I don't know about it. The indicators are there. I just don't know. This has been a strange spring, and you're right about the Midwest. Farmers out there, their fields are, well, a number of towns are still underwater. So I don't know. I know we'll get a few days of 90 degrees, but I don't know if we're going to get a long stretch or not. I have my doubts this year.
I have my doubts also, but the prediction was it was going to be hotter than normal, and now again we'll see what happens. It could just turn on us in a heartbeat there and get real dry and get real hot. Not sure. And speaking of vehicles, yeah, I'm a shade tree mechanic, I suppose I would say, and done all these things before, but vehicles have gotten so complicated it's hard to work on them. So I have a 2003 truck, and it's only got 54,000 miles on it. I was going to buy a new one when I retired, which is coming up in the next few months. I decided to restore my truck, and I got it in the body shop. And geez, I didn't think it was as bad as it was. When you pull all those plastic flares and stuff around the fenders off, oh my God, it's Swiss cheese. So, well, anyhow, I'm moving ahead with it and going to take care of it. I don't want to spend all the money on some new vehicle and keep something that I got that I can kind of still work on. KABLA. I'm going to turn it back to net control. That's it for now.
All right, Paul. Well, that should be a nice undertaking. It's nice to do something for yourself for retirement. There's no doubt, and I did get my toy for retirement as well, and for a couple other reasons too. But yeah, the substructure, the plastic. I was well. This was what, almost 8 years ago. When I was in a minor traffic accident, a car couldn't complete a right-hand turn and slipped into my front end, and it didn't look like to be too much surface damage. Maybe the rubber bumper needed replacing, but again, it was a little more of an impact, and took out a few more pieces underneath there that well, I wasn't aware of, and until they took off the bumper, they actually didn't see all the damage. So they do cosmetically hide a lot of stuff, so with the plastic. So I agree with you there. But much better than the cars of the 70s that when they were just starting the Japanese steel with them, they didn't last long at all. I had a 76 Pinto, and after they fixed the gas tank. So that one I took for 100,000 miles. There wasn't much left of it, but I did manage to squeak out some mileage on it. So anyway, thank you for checking in, Paul. You have a good evening, and we'll say 73 to you. And we'll put another shout out to see if there are any additional stations for the Lake County Amateur Radio Association Thursday night 2-meter net. This is N8IJG.
KB8YJY.
John, KB8YJY. Good evening to you. I haven't heard you, and how are things going?
Oh, real good, Bill. Hopefully you've been well. I haven't heard from you either. I haven't been on 2 meters too often. 40 meters some. We were down at the COD last Saturday, my daughter and I. We were making contacts for Museum Ships Weekend. That was a lot of fun. Met a couple other hams that I've never met before, so that was good. How about you? What have you been up to?
Really not a great deal. I mean, the usual house maintenance stuff. I've got a couple other projects I need to get started on here. But nothing special. Really haven't done much with the HF. I'm trying to think. Meeting last night. There was another ham from Lake County that was down at the COD. I'm trying to think who it was. Oh well, slipping my mind. Yeah. Anyway, I heard there were a couple people that were down there, so glad that went well. But overall, things have been going good. Nothing real special I can think about that comes to mind anyway. And but overall, things have been good.
Yeah, that may have been Larry from Perry, and I didn't I wrote down his call, but it's not with me. It's in my notebook. I bet you that's who that was. I met him for the first time. And he ran the radio. Before we got there, he was running the radio, and when we left, he took over too. So, but yeah, if you ever get a chance to do that, that's a lot of fun. And people want to work you. It's not like you're looking for the ships. It's a real good deal.
Yes, I agree with you. I know Bill KVIT, and Larry. It was probably Larry that was down there. WB8PHI. So I agree with you there. And oh yes, ships on the air. Put out your call, and you got a pile up. I don't think I've ever really been on the receiving end of a pile up. Maybe once or twice during field day, but that's about it. But I've talked to Bill on the radio. Actually, a CW conversation. I know he likes running a lot of CW, so I did run into him once using CW, and Bill's a nice guy as well, and a lot of fun operating. Cramped quarters, probably a tad cool in there, but I'm sure it was a very enjoyable experience.
So they moved it to the little dining room there, which is pretty good size compared to the radio room, which is, like it says in something I read, it's smaller than a handicap restroom. So, but yeah, we were in the little cafeteria there. There were 4 tables, and they have an IC 7300 there now. So they got a modern day rig, which performs very, very well. And that is Larry that I met, and I did meet Bill. What else was I going to comment on? Oh yes, there's 2 stations currently on 20 and 40. You'd have to check the cluster maybe after net, but they're on for D-Day. Whiskey 2 Whiskey and another call. The one station's in Maryland, so it's definitely a 40-meter contact. But that's about it on this end. I'll send you a picture, Bill, on the email there, so you can see my daughter in action. She worked mostly everything. I made a few contacts, and she saw how to do it, and then she just took the mic, so... Back to you, Bill.
All right, John. Yeah, there's been some updates. I haven't been down there for years, but last time I was there, he was running a Drake TR7A, I believe, and it was in the radio room. So that was definitely cramped quarters. So. I don't know if that was probably a temporary setup, I'm guessing, in the cafeteria for the event, but normally I know, or at least previously, he used to work out of just the radio room, so, and upgraded equipment. So it's been a good number of years since I've been down there, so. But that's good to hear. Glad you enjoyed yourself. Glad your daughter enjoyed herself as well, and it's always fun to be on the receiving end of a pile-up. So, anything else, John?
Pass along our 73s to you and whomever else is on the net here tonight. I just kind of flipped the rig on. I had it on my HG there, and then the battery indicator said I probably didn't have enough power to transmit, so I came up here to the 2-meter 440 mobile rig. Alright, Bill, that's enough gibberish. I'll let you beat the bushes there for a few more. And thanks for picking up the station today. N8IJG is going to be clear. Thanks again.
Alright, John, and I don't know if you're aware, FYI, the first Thursday of the month, which is today, I've been doing live streaming on YouTube, so your voice is now part of this podcast archive on YouTube. You can just do an N8IJG search, and I've been trying to date the title, so this will be a 6/6/19. But once a month I also video stream, so you are on record. just to make you aware of the situation, and anybody that's listening can always jump to YouTube and do a search for N8IJG. I should be listed. So listen along as time permits. Have the audio news. Bring that up a little bit. We'll say 73 and have a very good evening. Once again, we'll put another shout out to see if there are additional check-ins for the Thursday night 2-meter net. Then I'll go ahead and look at the club calendar, if I can grab it here. And that's available at www.lcara.org. And we're into June already. 6 months into 19 already. 2019. We're halfway done with this year already. Or will be in another 24 days, and this year's passing quick. Number of events on the list, and to lead them off, coming up this Sunday, which has been mentioned, is the Sunday in June bike ride. Mike, WBHZGH, Larry, Kate, LPC, are heading up the event. They are still looking for additional operators to help assist the event. If you're not familiar with it, it's a yearly event put on by the Cleveland Touring Club, and they do have, I believe, three routes. 25 miler, 50 miler, 100 miler, and then you can combine various of the routes to increase your riding, and we put operators along each of the routes to assist any of the bike riders just in case they need some help. And if you have some time to offer, it usually kicks off fairly early, about 7 a.m. Usually wraps up around 3-ish, but if you have some time available and can assist Mike, WBHZGH, we'd be happy to find you a spot along one of the routes, and feel free to contact him. And there's information on our website, www.lcara.org. And again, feel free to contact Mike if you'd like to participate in the Sunday in June bike ride as an operator. Let me grab a beep here. On the 16th, there's Lake Health Hill Run. And that's, I believe, a 13-miler. I think it's a half a marathon. So again, Mike, WBHZGH, is one of the contacts. Again, we do need operators along the route to assist any of the runners. If you have the day available, please contact him. Coming up on the 18th, which is the Tuesday, the 18th, is the third Tuesday breakfast group gathering, and that occurs at Perkins Restaurant in Paynesville, where a number of area amateur operators get together for morning coffee, chit-chat, breakfast, eyeball QSOs, and if you have the morning available, feel free to stop by. Usually we start gathering around 8 o'clock, and usually put our orders in at about 8:30. So feel free to stop by Perkins on the 18th and say hello and join us. It's a nice monthly gathering. And of course, coming up on the 22nd and 23rd is ARRL Field Day. And for Lake County, that's going to be held at the Lake County Historical Society. It starts at 2 p.m. on Saturday and concludes at 2 p.m. on Sunday. 24-hour operating event. I believe there will be 6 stations in operation, so that will give us a designator of 6A. And if you have the day available or would like to stop by and check out the setup, feel free to do so. And if you have time available to operate, I'm pretty sure all the operators will get you in front of the mic and give you an opportunity to make some contacts. So again, that's the 22nd and 23rd at the Lake County Historical Society, ARRL Field Day. And that pretty well wraps up the month of June. Again, the calendar is available at www.lcara.org. Feel free to browse around the calendar and the other listings, topics, and feel free to browse. And with that, this is N8IJG with the Thursday night 2-meter net. Do we have additional check-ins? Then I'm going to go ahead and move us over to the audio news. It's ARRL audio news, and it's 7 minutes and 29 seconds in length. And after a couple of button pushes, this will be N8IJG presenting the ARRL audio news.
ARRL Audio News, your weekly summary of news highlights from the world of amateur radio. If you retransmit audio news through a repeater, listen for the Morse code K character, followed by 4 seconds of silence. That's your cue to stop transmitting so that your repeater timer can reset. I'm Steve Ford, WBHIMY, and these are our stories for Friday, May 31st. Carla Pereira is on assignment. Hera Arena in Trotwood, Ohio, which served as home for the Dayton Hamvention for more than 6 decades, was among the structures damaged when tornadoes swept through the Dayton area on Memorial Day. According to a report from WHIO-TV, Hera Arena suffered extensive damage. Drone video showed that the roof and side of the structure had been blown off in several places. Hamvention relocated to the Greene County Fairgrounds and Exhibition Center in 2017 after Hera Arena shut down the previous year. The Hera Arena damage apparently resulted from what CBS News called, quote, a large and dangerous tornado, unquote, that struck Trotwood. Ohio Section Emergency Coordinator Stan Broadway, N8IJG, said Aries counties and districts activated after 40 tornado warnings were issued across the state. Ohio Aries remains active on HF as well as on DMR and VHF repeaters. The severe weather caused widespread damage in and around the Dayton area and elsewhere in the Miami Valley. The National Weather Service has said it will take several days to survey the damage. Multiple injuries and 1 fatality have been reported. Mexican radio amateurs have been providing communication support from a fire scene in a remote area to civil protection authorities in Monterrey, Mexico. 2-member teams of volunteers have been flown in via helicopter since May 20th, the first day of radio support when the fire had already been burning for a couple of days. Teams have been using WinLink, but they've added weak signal software VARA HF after Jose Alberto Nieto, EA5HVK, provided a VARA license on short notice. Tom Whiteside, N5TW in Georgetown, Texas, has been supporting the effort from across the border. He has 20 and 40 meter arrays pointed in the direction of the fire in Nuevo Leon. On May 23rd, the team had to be pulled out of the fire zone due to severe thunderstorms. June 6th will mark the 75th anniversary of Operation Overlord during World War II and the D-Day landings in Normandy. To commemorate those who took part, a small team from the Torbay Amateur Radio Society in England is organizing a chain of 5 special event stations along the UK's southern coastline. The team will activate a site above Brixham Harbor in Devon, a departure point for many U.S. soldiers who later landed on Utah Beach, and it will use the call sign GB75UF. Other clubs activating similar relevant locations will use these call signs. GB75OF for Omaha Beach, that's the South Dorset Radio Society. GB75GF, Gold Beach, which is the Southampton ARC and Sunton University Wireless Society. GB75JF, Juno Beach, the Itchen Valley Amateur Radio Club and the Waterside New Forest Amateur Radio Club, and GB75SF, Sword Beach, the Fort Purdock Amateur Radio Club. In addition, the team hopes to have 2 club stations from the Normandy area of France activating sites on the beaches. Logging is being coordinated centrally, and stations who contact 2 or more of the stations within the chain will be able to download a suitable certificate to commemorate their achievement. And now with this week's satellite update, here's Bruce Page, KK5DO.
Field Day is right around the corner, and if you're a satellite operator, you know that AMSAT has their field day at the same time as the ARRL field day. Our rules are just a little bit different than the ARRL rules. Most groups will want to make their one satellite contact to earn the ARRL bonus points. For AMSAT field day, you'll want to work every station on every satellite. We do have one caveat. On FM satellites, you can only make one contact. We do this to try and allow those trying for their one satellite contact for the ARRL bonus points to get that contact made. For the sideband satellites, look to use XW series, the CAST series, and others like AO7, FO29, and EO88. Another difference in the rules is that you have to submit your AMSAT field day score by 11:59 p.m. on Monday, July 8, 2019. This gives me enough time to score the entries and write the article that will appear in the next issue of the AMSAT Journal. Be sure to include some information about your field day experience, and pictures are always welcome. Enjoy field day and watch out. Murphy will be out there, and he is going to visit someone. I hope it's not you. This is Bruce Page, KK5DO, for the ARRL Audio News.
This is the ARRL Audio News propagation forecast for Friday, May 31st. The solar flux index is only in the high 60s because the sun has been devoid of sunspots. The good news, though, is that geomagnetic disturbances have been fairly weak, and we can expect those conditions to continue for a couple of days. Your best chances for long-haul DX are on 40 or 80 meters, but static crashes from lines of thunderstorms may make those bands somewhat challenging. On VHF and UHF, the great turbo conditions we forecasted last week have died down, although there are still some band openings being reported from northeast Texas into central Illinois. 6 meters remains in good shape for sporadic E, with openings being reported almost every day.
And that concludes ARRL Audio News for this week. Our thanks to all contributors to this week's report. ARRL Audio News is produced by the American Radio Relay League, the National Association for Amateur Radio. For more information on amateur radio or the ARRL, visit us on the web at arrl.org. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter by searching for ARRL. If you have a question or comment about ARRL Audio News, email us at audionews@arrl.org. This program is copyright ARRL, all rights reserved. 73, and thanks for listening.
The ARRL Audio News is a weekly presentation of the Lake County Amateur Radio Association. And this is N8IJG for the Lake County Amateur Radio Association Thursday night, 2-meter net. Do we have additional check-ins at this time?
N8IJG, late check-in, KC80HF, Ken, over in Concord.
Hey, good evening, Ken, KC8OHF. No problem. We're still here. I'm still taking check-ins. So don't feel that you're late. We're still here. And how's your day been?
Actually, nice day. After the clouds went away, I went over to the St. Gabe's Festival, and they got a good deal on food, and picked up a quick gyro tonight in a bargain, and then back home trying to cheer the Indians to a victory.
Yeah, it sounds like a good way to spend the day. Hopefully they're on the winning side. The Indians are on the winning or are ahead at this time.
And negative on that. They are down, 3 or 4 to nothing. But we went to the game last night, left before the big rainstorm, and I got to find out that they won later. But hey, not bad. Even if they take 2 out of 3 against Minnesota, that's okay.
Yeah, that's good to hear, and I know they've had some rallies throughout the year so far, so very well. I'm glad you're checking in. Anything else that you may have for the net?
Yeah, negative on that, but hope to see you at the ice cream social here coming up in about a week and a half, and keep that Corvette between the lines, and talk to you later. KC80HF, clear up your final.
All right, Ken. Yeah, I'm hoping to be there. So hopefully we'll see you in about a week and a half. 73 for now, and you have a very good evening. And any additional stations for the Thursday night 2-meter net? Then we'll start to bring the net to a close. If you've been out there listening to us on a scanner and have always wondered how to become an amateur radio operator, look at the LaCara website at www.lcara.org and feel free to contact any one of the board members to learn how we can assist you in earning your amateur radio license. And once again, I'll put a final shout out to see if there are any additional stations for the Thursday night 2-meter net. Then this has been a regularly scheduled session of the Lake County Amateur Radio Association Thursday night 2-meter net. We meet every Thursday on this frequency at 7 p.m. local time. I would like to thank LaCara for the use of this repeater, and hearing no additional check-ins, I'm going to go ahead and close the session of the Thursday night 2-meter net at 8:04 p.m. local time, and I'll be returning this repeater to regular amateur radio use. Good evening to all. 73. This is N8IJG.